the Gruden stuff. Nothing against John. I know him.
Yep.
I don't think you can be out of the league for 10 years. The world's changed. You got let go by them. Did you have a feeling that Gruden had just decided coming in you weren't his dude?
A little bit. It was basically myself and Connor Cook competing for the backup job behind Derek, and obviously we both knew that Derek was going to be the guy.
Sure.
I had been the backup the year before, so I felt like I had a good chance of earning my job back, but I could kind of tell as OTAs, as mini camp, as the preseason went on, and I was taking pretty much the third reps in the games or in practice. I kind of felt like I wasn't Coach Gruden's guy, but for me, I just could control what I could control, and I was just going out there and playing well.
I know John. He's intense. I think he's smart. I don't know if this is going to work because I don't know if players are going to buy into him. Tell me your experience with John. He's a TV personality who suddenly went back to coaching.
I thought he was great. For me as a young quarterback, and still considering young, my fifth year, I was excited to learn from him. Obviously, Coach Gruden was doing a lot with the Gruden QB camps and things like that. So that's where I met him from. But, he was teaching us a bunch, and not just, necessarily X's and O's, but also the nuances of being a quarterback and, how to have, the moxie to talk in the huddle and things like that. So that part was awesome. Now, obviously, when I got let go, I was obviously upset because it put me behind the eight ball. I didn't get a chance to get on with another team.
Yeah.
But, as far as working with him, one-on-one, I thought it was great.
EJ, let's talk Derek Carr. He had a rough rookie year, came back good with Del Rio. Then he's kind of struggled since. There's the moment he gets hurt. There's a lot of questions. Right. As honestly as you can say it, do you think he's a 10-year franchise quarterback? If so, why? If not, why? Right.
I think he is. Main reason being, Derek has all the intangibles that you need to be a long-time starting quarterback in the NFL.
What do you mean?
I'm talking about off the field. Obviously he's been a great player on the field. He's put up numbers. He's had a chance to grow, and I think that's the best thing that the Raiders have done for him. Being that they took him in the second round. I think 2014 they allowed him to have those growing pains, right? But sometimes it's not as easy as everybody thinks it is. You just said it. Quarterback in the NFL is the hardest position in the game, and obviously he's going to take all the bullets because they're 1-6, 1-7, whatever right now. But I do think he has the moxie to be a long-time quarterback.
Do guys respect him?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think
now there was a report last year.
Right.
Now I should note, I think this is really hard. Mm-hmm. He's a Christian kid.
Right.
The whole flag issue, the kneeling issue, it was tough for everybody. I'm not blaming anybody.
Of course.
Okay, it was tough for our network.
Right.
There were reports that he had ticked off a few dudes in the room. Yeah. Are those true?
I think so. In that moment, I remember that. It was before we played the Redskins.
Yes.
And that was the week President Trump was saying what he said, and obviously we all felt away. And so, it kind of put Derek in a position where it was hard for him to, say, hey, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. It was almost like he had to pick sides.
Yes.
And he tried to stay as neutral as possible. And I think that might have rubbed some guys the wrong way, but I've been in that position. I've been a starting quarterback in that league before, and I know it's extremely hard. You can't please everybody. And Derek is the kind of guy, like you said, he's a Christian guy, so he's going to be himself. But at the same time, I don't think guys always want to hear necessarily the politically correct thing to say.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of where it was hard for him.
I think it was hard for everybody.
It was hard for everybody. It was uncomfortable, honestly. It was extremely uncomfortable, and I felt like that game is where our season kind of fell off the road a little bit last year. We got beat pretty bad versus the Redskins, and I felt like that was somewhat of a distraction that we had to face, going into that game.
I like E.J. Manuel joining us. I like the Amari Cooper move. Now, is he worth a first-round pick? Well, wide receivers now are really valuable because they're changing all the rules for offense.
That's true.
I liked him out of college, and I liked him his first couple years, and then there have been a little bit of statistical regression. People like he doesn't love football, and part of me thinks maybe it's the dysfunction of the Raiders a little bit. Sometimes it's funny how guys go to certain teams and they pop because, it's a better organization.
For sure.
Tell me what Amari does. You've thrown to him.
Yeah.
Tell me the strengths of Amari Cooper.
Oh, man. Extreme speed, awesome jumping ability. He's strong. Amari's a big guy. I think guys see that he's so fast that they forget that he's actually, I would say, 220, 225 pounds and, running a 4.3. So I think Coop is a great receiver. I think the Cowboys did, an awesome thing for themselves and their offense, and really for Dak to give him basically a number one threat at receiver now with Coop. I think he's the kind of guy that he imposes, a mismatch every time he goes up against a DB.
Do you think he's? Some have suggested he's a better slot than a sideline receiver. What do you think?
I could see him doing well in the slot, mainly because he's going against nickels. He's not going against necessarily
the best corner.
The best corner. And I'm not saying that Coop can't go against the best corner, the Jalen Ramseys of the game, who's I think is one of the best corners in the league. But I think him in the slot, he's so shifty that he can still do the ins and outs of a slot receiver, almost like a Beasley, but he can also go outside too. So that's why I say he poses so many different mismatches, for defenses and defensive coordinators.
It's funny. I've been tough on Dez, and I've been tough on Odell Beckham. But I love Julio Jones because I have this belief that when you're a young quarterback in this league, sometimes star receivers, you don't even admit it, but you feel like you owe them looks.
For sure.
I thought Dak kind of felt like, oh, God, if I don't throw to Dez, he's going to freak out.
Right.
And I felt Eli felt that last year. Like, I owe this guy. Is Amari demanding? Will he be get me the ball guy? Is he high maintenance? Do you worry about that?
I don't think so. He's not high maintenance at all. One thing about Coop, he's just going to do what he needs to do to be ready to go. Be ready to play on Sundays.
Quiet?
I think he's very quiet. Now, obviously, he will communicate with you. Obviously, he spoke to Derek as far as when we were in practice more because DC was the starter. But I do remember when I started versus the Ravens last year, he and I had a bunch of communication the week before the Wednesday to Thursday practices, making sure that we were on the same page. And so, Coop is a very laid-back guy. That's just him naturally. So I don't think that's a knock on him. Obviously, that's his personality. But I think when he gets the ball in his hands, that's when he lights up.
Mitch Trubisky reminds me of Dak.
Right.
Is that I want to see them run 7 to 8 times a game. And if they get hurt, they get hurt.
Right.
But they're both they got a Russell Wilson build to them.
Yeah.
They can, you're a thick dude. They can take. I don't want to see Josh Rosen or Jared Goff running or Matt Ryan.
Right.
We're seeing now a lot of college offense move into the NFL.
Right.
I just have started noticing it. When did you feel that was happening?
Well, even when I was a rookie, I think they try to implement some things that I did at Florida State, whether it's the zone read, the run pass options that the Eagles do a bunch with Carson Wentz and Nick Foles. And obviously it's productive. I think quarterbacks now, we're more elusive. I don't think 20 years ago, you didn't really see too many guys that could take off and run. Even like watching Deshaun last night, look at all the plays that he made with his feet. I mean, he's almost unstoppable once he gets out of the pocket. And he can still, beat you in the pocket. And I think Dak is the same way. So, to me, I felt like 10 years ago, that was a bad thing when you said a quarterback could run. But now I think it's almost a positive thing.
By the way, you played in the same conference as Deshaun Watson.
Yep.
Do you remember the first time you saw him play?
I want to say the first time I saw Deshaun, he was in high school at the Elite 11 camp. I was a counselor. I think it was me, Kirk Cousins, and a couple other guys.
So he was like 16.
Yeah, he was young. He was like 17, I think. And I saw him, playing down there. And there was a bunch of guys. Deshaun Kaiser, I think Jared Goff was in that group. So it was a good group of quarterbacks. And I remember seeing him back then. And I knew he had what he's doing now. I saw even back then when he was in high school.
Is he a good dude?
Great guy.
See, that's what people think I don't like Baker Mayfield. Now, okay, first of all, he's fine.
Yeah.
One of the reasons when I first met you, I said I like this kid. Quarterback's different.
Right.
Okay, you're the guy that talks in the huddle.
For sure.
I want you to talk a little bit about that. Jameis Winston worries me out of the huddle. Baker Mayfield worries me. There's some nonsense going on in college. Did you notice it in the NFL when you got in that people judge quarterbacks differently?
For sure.
Tell me about that.
For sure. I think you have to look at it like this. When you get in the huddle, there's 10 other men in that huddle that are looking you in the eye, and they can tell if you're real or not, period. They can tell if you like the play that was called. They can tell if you studied the night before. They can tell all that.
Really?
So yeah, if you're a fraud, they're going to figure it out within seconds. And so, like I said, you're leading men at the end of the day, and you have to respect that. You can't be out off the field doing crazy things because you're not only representing yourself, you're representing the entire franchise, representing your fans, you're representing the city. Now, I think guys when they're young, they're a rookie, they're second-year quarterbacks, they have to learn that, and they still might think that they have the same looseness that they might have had in college, but you're not in college anymore. You're dealing with, guys who are 8, 9, 10-year vets, and you kind of have to, be more of a professional. That's it. As long as you're a pro, I think your teammates will always respect you for that.
By the way, you've had Bobby Bowden, Jimbo Fisher, Rex Ryan.
Doug
You've
Marone.
had some of the biggest personalities.
Yeah, for
You've
sure.
had John Gruden. Is there a coach, Jack Del Rio?
Yeah.
What coach did you connect with?
I connected with Coach Fisher the most.
Jimbo Fisher.
Obviously, I was his, first recruit, coming out of high school, and he and I are still very close. I spoke to him probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, and, I just check in with him, seeing how everything's going down there in College Station at Texas A&M. So, so he and I are very close, but, I would say every coach, I've taken something to learn from each guy. I think Coach Fisher, taught me the professionalism of the game, even though I was in college. Coach Marone, kind of gave me some hard lessons. He benched me my second year, and obviously that wasn't, the only thing that he taught me. But, I've learned so much from each guy, and I think as a man, not just a football player, each coach has been able to put something into my life that I'll, be able to continue to have and use, for my advantage later on in life.
E.J. Manuel living right now in Hollywood. Hope I didn't give away too much. If I was young and single and good looking, I'd live in Hollywood too.
Oh, man, come on.
So you're still available if somebody wants you.
Yes, I'm ready to go.
It's great seeing you again.
Great to see you too.
Easy guy to root for. Coming up next, something last night at the Laker game I thought was incredibly cool. And there is one college football game to watch this weekend.